Become your spectrum self. February 24, 2014. Before we begin the message that has been prepared for you today, let us give thanks to the day that is before us, a day gifted by God, a day that is filled from the morning you open your eyes and until you finally lay yourself down to rest is filled with unlimited potential and opportunity to bring in new changes, to grow and to develop in many new and wondrous ways. And let us give thanks to this dear vessel for allowing me to come forward once again to speak to all of you. Thank you. Regardless of the kind of relationship you have, whether your concerns are with family, friends, co-workers or people that you may pass by or those that serve you in a number of ways are there for you to build upon and to maintain. The cementing used to build and maintain any relationship is created with an important mixture of trust, compassion and acceptance of the other person. Of course there will be differences, how could there not? It is essential to take into account the differences that are apparent, understanding you are not meant to be exactly like the other person, and even if you have some of the same interests, and it is through these interests that draw you together, it is equally important to accommodate the differences as well as what you find compatible in order to build a long-lasting connection. How well do you know the other person or persons? Have you become so used to their presence that you have taken them for granted and not noticed that after all this time that they have changed right before your eyes? The truth, dear ones, is that it is not easy learning about many different people that are different from you and from your beliefs, but it does make a huge difference when you take the time to learn more about your friend, family member, co-worker and even the cashier that rang in your groceries without being overly inquisitive. It is important for you to acknowledge that each person that crosses your path was meant to and touches a place inside you even if they only came into your life once. When you show pure and genuine interest with another person, that energy is felt and kept for a very long time and remembered. One of the easiest ways to get to know someone is by asking questions about important things. When you take the time to learn of the other person's values, you are building a connection and the connection you are building demonstrates you have an openness to learn, that you accept the other person for their values and differences, and it brings about respect that is mutual. When the other person is sharing their values and beliefs, it is only normal to share your own, and when you do, prepare yourself to be challenged if the other person does not understand. Don't always jump to the defensive or provide a hateful reply. Appreciate the challenge because the other person is now learning about your values. If you are not comfortable with certain questions, let the person know they have probed a little too deeply. Remember, not everyone is on the same level of understanding or awareness. Be patient, demonstrate compassion and learn to share what you are comfortable with sharing. It is a beginning and positive development for future sharings. If you are alone and not romantically involved with anyone, there is no problem with this, and for some people being alone is a conscious choice. There is a lot to learn when it is just you. Even if you live alone, it is important to be able to reach to others, like a friend or family member for companionship and human comfort. We understand it can be hard to be on your own at times. We encourage you to learn positive ways to be with yourself that is healthy and rewarding. Become a spectrum whole self. There are so many different variables that surround the issues of building harmony within relationships. People from families that have broken down for one reason or another may find it difficult to connect to others, but at the same time they are yearning to make that special connection that does work. Work at enjoying the life that is in front of you, while you are working at making deeper and meaningful connections with others. Don't abandon the enjoyment of life because you are working on achieving a connection with another dear soul. Sometimes family has no blood relation. Remember, dear ones, there are many dear souls that you can connect with that is not out of your reach that are family to your soul. They can become your source of strength if you let them, and never forget you always have God to turn to, and He is always there waiting for when you need Him, holding His loving arms out to you to catch you in His infinite embrace. It is vital to keep in mind that the prolific relationships are derived from pure and honest living, loving and from sharing. When a dear soul is living purely and honestly, they are not out to control others, they allow others to live as they choose as long as there is no harm being done to others around them. They are not there trying to change others, but they remain open and available if guidance and support is needed. Opinions and preferences are not forced because they genuinely enjoy who they are with for who they are. When you come from a loving place and you demonstrate this energy towards another, you are giving yourself in the capacity you can unconditionally. This is clearly one of the hardest things for so many dear souls to do within any relationship, mainly because emotions get in the way and create a warped perspective in your sense of responsibility. We know when you love deeply, but if your love is pure, you will not try to shape certain conditions upon those you love that are based on your likes and not theirs. There are ways to bring the best out of someone without being forceful. If you see a diamond of a person but is still in the rough stages, simply be patient and gently keep rubbing away their debris, earning their respect, love and trust in return, and in time you will be rewarded by a gem that sparkles beyond anything your imagination could conjure up. Sharing in any relationship brings people together in harmony. Harmony is balancing and essential to any relationship and of its foundation. It is important to point out that any relationship is never about just you, they are about the other person and you working as we. Of course there will be rough patches and difficulties in your relationships. The difficulties in life are how you grow as a person, and when they include people you have built a relationship with, they can help you grow together. When problems arise within a relationship, even if it's a platonic friendship, it's important to not allow the issue to put aside because by ignoring the issue festers and becomes toxic over time and will damage the structure of your relationship, and many times this structure becomes so damaged that it is irreparable. Learn to talk and to communicate openly and with respect to each other's feelings. Express your feelings and concerns about what you are thinking about, and don't allow judgments from other people to cloud your own thoughts and perception of what is in front of you. Yes, it is important to be circumspect, but don't be so cautious that you miss the point of your need to share your concerns. Because there is so much involved in relationships and having them flow harmoniously, it is essential to be willing to take complete responsibility for all your words and actions that you express if you truly wish for the relationship to continue. As adults, you are expected to be responsible for what you say and do, yet we see even now among your modern world how many adults are not taking responsibility or being accountable for any wrongs they may have done towards another. Blame becomes an easy scapegoat, and all blame does is create guilt and feelings of inadequacies onto the other person. A lack of responsibility damages the growth of any relationship. One of the best ways to improve a troubled relationship, dear ones, is simply removing the need to blame and to accept responsibility where it is needed, and to work together to discover feasible solutions rather than complaining about what is not there or what is wrong. By working together, you grow together. You may have a good friend for many years or married your best friend, but even after a few years this person has changed and so have you. You both changed even from 5 years ago to now. To assume that this person has remained exactly the same while you know you have changed is very unrealistic. It is sentimental to remember the person you became friends at the time you met, but that person has grown and so have you. Take a look at the relationships you have now, the ones with your children, with your spouse, with other family members and friends. Observe how they changed over the past 4 or 5 years or from the time they came into your life. Have you missed some developments because you looked away and were too preoccupied with your own life, or have you watched them grow and noticed their stretches upwards and sideways that helped them reach to where they are now? A good and long-lasting relationship requires growing room, not just for the other person but for you as well. The space provided for growth and development must be nurtured by compassion, love, and by your openness to be the strength they need when necessary. When you are able to bring out the best in each other, that is the true and genuine telling of a good relationship, and this doesn't have to be between lovers. This kind of relationship can be found with friends, other family members, customer service people, and other people that you associate with often. Try to remember, dear ones, that when each person that you are connected with grows, this does not mean your relationship has to end, it simply means some of its dynamics has changed, and if you can accept the changes, then you also move with the changes. There very well may be some major changes that come about that you are not compatible with, and such changes can create a disruption in your relationship. When you feel you are growing apart and you are absolutely sure there is no fixing to change the sudden course of events, then understand that some relationships do come to an end. Knowing this, dear ones, every person from every relationship you have had and from those you are still part of, all come with important life lessons. Now you can choose to only see the negative ones, but they are also rich with positive life lessons if you are willing to open yourself to embrace them. All relationships require love and care in order for them to flourish and continue. By allowing someone you are connected with to be untended, the survival of your relationship is less than favorable. It is important to find time for just you and this person, where there are no interruptions, just you and the other person. One-on-one time is nurturing and it helps to keep the structure of the relationship strong. The time together doesn't need to be big, just as long as it's quality time well spent together. When you have finally found time to be with your friend, spouse, family member or even co-worker, ensure you are providing your full attention and not demonstrating boredom or distraction. Show you are interested in what they have to say and in them. We understand that being with friends and family members that don't live in the same city, state, province or country can be a challenge, but now with so many technological advances there are many ways to connect and to nourish your relationships. One thing we encourage you to assume is faith. Have faith in the people you are connected to. Trust them and believe in them for just as they are. We are positive there will be times when your faith, trust and belief in people will be tested. You will cross paths with people that will abuse your trust and will abuse our faith, and we urge you to forgive them and allow your heart to guide you to the right way to go. Don't always assume people are out to harm or to do wrong. It is far better for you to assume that others will do the right thing because you prefer to attract positive, love-filled energy. If you look at the world and the people that share your earthly home through eyes that are angry and critical, there will not be any relationships for you to build upon or maintain that will be long-lasting. Trust your intuition about people. Learn to follow the direction of your heart when interacting with others. Who is once a stranger can easily become your best friend. When you indicate to another dear soul that you believe in them and that you trust in them and have faith, you then become a source of encouragement and illumination. When trust, belief and faith is recognized, it is harder to break, as breaking one of these attributes doesn't just bring harm to one person, it brings harm to both. When you have a relationship that is built on compassion, acceptance and trust, choices become different because the choices don't only affect one individual, but have the capacity of affecting all that have become part of the deep relational connection. Understand, dear ones, relationships not only require responsibility but they also require commitment. Stand behind the dear souls that you trust, give them the support they need and believe in them, become the rock if they are weathering a storm and become a comfortable place to be at any time of their journey. It is understood that many people among you prefer to live complicated lives instead of living in simplicity. Knowing this, it is important to not see things in black or in white. Remember, there are other colors in the spectrum that are important and help fill your life. Just because someone is different from how you think or how they choose to live their life doesn't mean they don't deserve your respect, compassion, or acceptance. Instead of seeking to discredit someone's differences, seek to understand the reason behind your clouded judgment, and from your discoveries and explorations you will come to the conclusion that you are not just learning about them, you are learning about you in the process. And so it is. I am Archangel Ariel through Julie Miller. SpiritualNetworks.com